What's going on, guys? JHoyt back with you today. Welcome back to episode number 25 of the Chicago Blackhawks franchise mode. We are back here for the offseason as a very disappointed team. Very disappointed GM here with me. And what do I even say about last episode? I mean, we just sucked. I mean, we went against the Minnesota Wild, so we'll take a quick look at the bracket as well. Against Minnesota, when they had a very, very weak goaltender in net at 81 overall, they only had like one good defenseman, and they had like a pretty similar top nine to us, except for we had some more higher-end firepower. Yet, we get absolutely smoked in the first round. Not actually smoked, but, 4-2 is still like, not great. And then they go on to the conference finals, and it was a whole big disappointment. But we enter this episode, like I said, going into the offseason with some big decisions ahead of us. We have, how many picks do we have? I don't remember. Let's go to the draft board here. Okay, so we have a first-round pick, 2/3, a fourth, 2/5, and a seventh. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 overall picks. So hopefully we can get a good player out of all this, but we don't really have any, crazy draft picks here. So the only thing we can kind of really do is to try to trade, a player and a pick in that first round pick up to get him, or to get a player, because there is a few really, really, really good players in this draft, such as Moise. I think I'm not even going to try to pronounce it, but Pajot here, this left winger, all A's there. He's all A's across the board. You got Bradley Kim here with A's almost across the board. Another forward, pretty much all A's. And you just keep going right down, and you have some really, really solid players, all about here. So there are a couple players around our pick that, we'll see in the draft here. I guess we'll just start it because we can trade in the draft. But yeah, start the draft. Let's get right into it. So like I said, there's a couple of players around our pick in the draft that we could, potentially go after. Are we going to get any of those players? I guess we'll find out. But at least for right now, that's kind of where we sit off. So Pajot, 83 overall. Okay, so some really, really solid picks there. So it was, 5 players, I believe, all above, 77 overall. That's pretty solid. 70 overall, 73 overall. All right. What else is back here? So, all right, so a couple other players that I had recognized and marked when. But let's call timeout here just to get a little bit more time to look through it. We're not going to use the entire thing. But let's make our pick. So obviously we stayed right at this pick, and let's just kind of go through it. So we're kind of looking for defensive help, but also forward help if possible. I'm not going to go out of my way to pick a forward, but if we can't really find anything we really want or that really kind of fits what we're looking for, then obviously we're going to have to go with a forward, or it depends on what we find here. So a couple of guys that I had marked out before that could be of a decent, pickups for us, or 2 of the players that I was really, really happy about. So the one that I kind of was focusing on super heavy. Now, obviously, it's our first round pick. We're 26th overall. There's a lot of players ahead of this player, but Maxim Semenov, I believe that's how you pronounce that. You could kind of see why I'd want him. He's a shutdown defenseman, B's across the board except for physical, and it's just, he seems really solid. So I think we're going to go with him. Yeah, I just don't see any other player that I really, really like. So we're going to go with him, Semenov, 69 overall, elite, low potential, but I feel like he's going to, if those stats are true about him, that he'll be pretty decent going forward. Plus, obviously, he's still young. He's only 18 years old. So, yeah, I'm really excited to see what he turns into. But we got a couple of more picks for the start. That was weird. It, came up with a screen, but then, that was weird. All right. third round pick now. We got 19th overall. I did not go this far down the draft as far as looking for potential players, so this is going to be interesting. So we got a sniper that sucks at skating, an injury-prone physical player. All right. Interesting mix of strengths and weaknesses there. Okay, so he's bad at skating and doesn't use his teammates. Character worth that can engage physically, but his weakness is skating. See, I want people to have, good skating. Or if we're picking a center, I want them to have good face-offs. You know what I mean? Like, it's kind of difficult. Ooh, 17-year-old Russian goaltender. What's his endurance? All right, let's pin him for a second. Let's see what else is down here. I'm looking for those really solid grades at the bottom there. And this also proves that I need to put in the work to actually go through our scouting and do it well. Because you see, a lot of these players would not have been scouted last year if we stayed with the same system. So it looks like I'm going to have to keep doing that in order to figure out what players are going to be best for us. And what players are going to be best for us right now probably will be Pavel Brizgalov. Goaltender, obviously he's 17 years old. He's still young. And he's already got that starter potential at medium, level. And he's already done really, really well. So he should be a decent pickup for us. What are we saying? 57. Okay, so he's going to grow into him. Obviously, he's going to have a couple years in Russia probably before he even thinks about coming over. Not officially, of course, but until we sign him. So we have a trade to force. I believe that's going to be next year for our third round pick this year. I'm probably going to say no for now just because I kind of want these picks because we didn't have a second round pick. So the more amount of players we can find now is kind of what I'm looking for. All right, so we already kind of looked at all these players, but let's go down a little bit. Okay, so we got a couple gems. Are they gems is the real question. So strength, balance, defensive zone play, a sniper center, his weakness is character, foot speed. See, it's tough when they're not fully scouted and those grades aren't the greatest. Because you just don't really know what you're going to, because, this guy's got all the stuff he needs except for skating. So, do I want to I kind of want to take a risk on him, to be honest. Because if he can develop his skating, he'll be a really solid player. He's playing in Russia as well. See, Russia's and I've said this all along, Russian players in this game don't perform. And not necessarily once they get to the NHL, but in Russia, you see 4 points in 21 games, you're like, all right, what's he, a fourth liner? You're not going to think too much of him. But with those good... Actually, I'm going to take a risk on this guy. Vladimir Zadorov, welcome to Chicago. I'm willing to take that risk. Okay, so 66 overall. He's a grinder, unfortunately, but he's top 6 low. So we got some kind of interesting part there. And we'll do this last pick, and then we'll kind of evaluate and see if there's any trades we can make before we get into the re-sign stage. Because obviously we got some big decisions. Wait, A plus, A plus, A plus, A plus, A plus, A minus. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. We'll do that. Totally didn't mean to do that, by the way. But all right, let's go see about trades because we have okay, I took them all off the trade block or it reset itself. But we had basically our entire third line on the trade block once we left off. I took McLeod off of it only because I think he has a better future than Taves does. So not that I want to trade Taves because we also signed him to an extension. But the guys that are playing alongside of him on the third line, that's Brandon Saad, and there was McLeod there. But we're going to kind of see what we can do. Because obviously we have Solani, DeBrincat, Koivu, and there was one other player I'm thinking of. And McLeod, I think it was. Along with Duchesne and Strome. So we have a really, really good top 6. But then after that, we've had a really solid third line. But we've sucked. So this is the year we got to focus on our defensemen. And in order to do that, I don't really want to, but I'm going to try to evaluate a trade for Brandon Saad, mainly because his contract, even though I think I signed him to that, if we can get rid of that, it would help us down the road. Because obviously we just signed a couple of guys to big extensions, and right now we definitely need to evaluate our defensive situation. So in order to get something, you got to give up something. So as much as I don't want to, we kind of have to in this situation. So we're going to be looking for a top line defenseman. No matter what that is, a top line defenseman. Now, I should also preface this by saying, if you look at our defensive core, we're not that bad, but we're missing that number one left-hand defenseman spot. So Ulevy and Dylan are both up this year. We did not offer either of them a contract extension yet, because I wanted to see if I could find something in the draft or through a trade to make our team better, basically. So I wanted to trade Ulevy, but I can't. I don't believe. I'm going to try, but I don't think we can. But if we can possibly get rid of Ulevy, or if we have to trade Saad in order to do it, then that'd be huge, because that kind of frees up that spot. Maybe we keep Dylan. Maybe we go to someone else. I'm not exactly sure. So I'm going to take some time, look for a trade, and we'll come back hopefully either with a solution or we'll start the re-sign stage. So I'm pretty sure I've found a trade that ends up working out for both sides. So for us, it gives us a very good young player in Zitkov, I'm going to go with. 18 years old, 78 overall. So yes, he's not the greatest, but he's exactly kind of what we're looking for. First round pick, 8th overall, defensive defenseman, still has room to grow on his entry-level contract. You look at what he did in the AHL last year. If he plays on a good team, he probably will be pretty darn good. So unfortunately, I think we're going to have to give up Brandon Saad in this situation, unfortunately. But in this case, it kind of helps both teams. They need a forward. We need a defenseman. So we're kind of going for the wait until he develops route. But I feel like it's going to work out. So does this go through? No, it doesn't. So let's throw something in here to try to make this one work. How about this going to go through? It's going to be a good trade. So we end up throwing in an AHL defenseman that had a little bit of trade value on him. I know I clicked the button a little too soon, but we ended up trading away this Regula. I don't know. But this guy in exchange, that guy and Saad, in exchange for that defenseman. So obviously super excited about that trade that we got him. So he's going to have an opportunity to grow here, obviously. We're going to put him in a good spot to succeed, and I'm super happy about it. So we're still in the draft, obviously, but we're going to simulate ahead here, get to the re-sign stage, and hopefully we can get everyone signed that we want to keep. So now we're entering the re-sign stage after the draft. Let's get right into it. Contracts. Let's see who's going to be re-signing, who's not going to be. So we don't have any big guys up this year because we did sign Kane and Taves to extensions last year. Kane was a 7.5 mil at, I think it was 2 years, and then Taves was a 6 mil at 2 years also. So and that's not even mentioning the Solani or Koivu deals. So we got pretty much everyone locked up that we really want. Now we just kind of fill those holes that either retired or moved on, or just plainly we don't want to be here. So we'll start right with centers. We'll mainly focus on the NHL roster. All of the AHL guys, the guys that will be down there, we'll focus off camera. But the first one, JT Comfort, let's go through it kind of quickly. He wants 1.6. Let's go him a little bit lower, 1.5. He should accept that right away. And with Clutterbuck retiring and the trade of Saad, we're going to have a fourth line spot open. So we'll offer Sagen a contract. Same thing with Spears. And I believe we got one other guy that's looking for a contract as well on left wing. But we'll handle that in just a second. And that's Brandon Gignac. Yeah, he wants a contract as well. He's been really good for us up in the NHL as that fourth line left wing spot. And then we got right wings. More AHL guys. We'll take care of them in a second. But our biggest problem this year, or our biggest kind of deal this year, is our defense. Now, we made the trade of Assad for Zitkov here. And although that's going to be a good future move, we need to kind of focus on right now. And where that leaves us is 3 open spots, but we have 4 guys right here. Actually, we need to release Pionk there. But we have actually 3 guys left, not 4. But here's what I kind of want to do. So after looking at the pending free agents for this upcoming year in free agency in a few days, there's not many people that I'm really interested in. And with that being said, we still have a couple of guys we got to make decisions on. So Ulevy, last time I checked, he wanted, a long-term contract. So I don't want to give him that just yet, but I also don't want to spend $4 million on him either, mainly because I want to get, like I said before, that top line spot, that more defensive player that can play with Boquist, so that way it kind of releases Fowler to unleash his offensive potential on that second line with Severson. But that leaves us in an interesting spot because we have a guy like Brendan Dillon who could fill that top line spot. He's actually listed as a top 4 defenseman. We could put him in the NHL this year and put him on that top spot. He's mainly focused on defense. He is a defensive defenseman. So, we could always go after him in free agency, which I think is what our plan's going to be. We're going to release him. We'll go after him in free agency if, the other guys don't re-sign or go after someone else. It doesn't really matter. But, that's kind of going to be the thing. Yaros played really well for us on that third line. Got at some points. Played really well defensively. And the last thing we kind of have to deal with is our goaltender situation. Saros now 87 overall. And last time I checked, so he wants about $6 million. How about $6 million at 2 years? I was going to offer him a little bit lower, but there's no point at this time. And then Grubauer, we probably want, he wants a little bit more than I want to spend. If we're going to want to get someone in the offseason, we're not going to be able to re-sign Grubauer. And plus, he wasn't really that great with us this last year. So I guess we're just going to have to sign Hutchinson for this year. Let's go 1-1. That works for me. You guys saw the goaltender that we kind of picked up, 18 years old, 72 overall, 4th round pick. So you can kind of wonder why I'm pretty happy about that. He should be probably an organization next year. And I probably shouldn't have signed Hollett to a contract extension and just kind of let him go up, so that way we can have a guy like McMillan, and then we can get a guy like Jackson in the lineup. So I might end up working a trade for Hollett. I'm not exactly sure yet, but let's sign Jackson to a contract. We've kind of made him wait a little bit, but it kind of made him perfect what he was doing. So let's get him under contract here. His entry-level contract. Then we'll have 6 goalies, but if we're going to trade Hollett, then obviously that would be a different story. So let's simulate a couple days. Let's get all the AHL guys signed, and hopefully we can get our guys in free agency. So here we are at the first day of free agency, and we did get everyone re-signed. Saros ended up signing a 1-year deal at $7.5 million. He wanted to test free agency, so we just had to throw the 1-year high money at him a little bit, and that kind of fixed our issue in a sense. So everyone else re-signed, like I said. So let's get right into it. I have not looked at the free agents. I did look at the pending free agents a while ago, but that's not now. So is everyone there that we kind of want to be there? There's a lot of centers and defensemen this year. Holy cow. So as far as defense goes, we did not re-sign Ulevy. He is one player that we just offered the contract or the qualifying offer to. So that's why he's there. So we still do have technically control of him. but that's kind of for a different time. So what we're looking for is a top line left defenseman that's more defensive minded. And the one player that we wanted to get at was Oscar Klefbom. He is not there, unfortunately. So we're going to have to find someone else, which I'm not really seeing too many people that are more defensive minded. The first one is obviously Brendan Dillon. Or we could go a little bit down and get a guy like Scandella. Or just some other guys that I don't really want. Who could we get that would be a reasonable contract? What's Dylan for us? So I wonder if there's a player that's a little bit better of a skater than him, but is also defensive. Dermott is a good player, but he's not really defensive. Vince Dunn is definitely not defensive. Neither is Zabril. What about Scandella? He's got good skating, and he's defensive. So, okay, that could be an option. What does he want for a contract? 2.5 at 3 years? I really don't want to do 3 years. The max I want to do is 2 on him. What's like Ben Hutton? Is he more defensive? I know he's a two-way, but is he more defensive? Choices. Let's go with Scandella. He's still good at skating. Defensive is good. He's still got a pretty decent shot. So let's go with Scandella. Let's go 2 years at 2.5. I probably could have signed Dylan at that, when we were re-signing him. But or do I just want to... You know what? This is what we're going to do first. Before we make a signing that doesn't really make sense, let's try to trade Ulevy for somebody that kind of matches what we want to do. And then we'll go from there. So I found a trade that might work. So it's going to be Ulevy to the Rangers in exchange for Lindgren here. He is their 83 overall, so it's similar overall. Top 4 defensive defenseman, former second-round pick of Boston. Still good at skate, or not still, but he's still young, and he's good at skating, which is something we were looking for. Plays physical, has good puck skills, so it looks like he can move the puck, plus be good defensively. Got a couple years at 4.675 mil, but I feel like, it makes a little bit more sense to spend a little bit of money too. And it kind of gets rid of, and be a similar contract to Ulevy anyway. So we don't really have to sign him to that, or, sign him crazy long term. So 1 for 1 is what I'm thinking. Will that go through? Trade accepted. So we got our defenseman, got the defensive that we were looking for. Now, time for free agency. So now that there's really nothing major we really need, now we can kind of focus on getting some depth. So we counted out all the numbers. We got 11 centers, 6 left wings, 8 right wings, 6 left-hand defensemen, 6 right-hand defensemen, and 3 total goalies. So basically it's just a third-line left defenseman, and then it's AHL players. So it's really not going to be that exciting. But once we find a couple people that we want to sign, we'll come back, we'll tell you, and then we'll see what the training camp roster is. So the only player we really sent an offer to, other than the AHL guys, was the one player that's pretty home and native to Chicago. That's Hjalmarsson. Welcome back to Chicago, buddy. 1 year, 1.5 mil. He's going to fill that third line left defensive spot perfectly. But let's get right up to the not the trade deadline, to training camp, the preseason, and get our preseason lineup all set up so you guys can see the battles that are going into the regular season. We are now at the preseason, and boy, it's going to be a big battle here, and I'm actually pretty excited for it. So let's take you right in, show you guys what's going on. So no one got traded, no one got sent down or anything crazy. Just trying some guys in some new spots. So with the big trade of Brandon Saad, we were able to move Jenner up to a third line role. Obviously he was a big factor in the playoffs last year. Led our team in points when the rest of our team kind of, crapped the bed. But with the likes of Thomas, Gignac, Sajant, Studenich, and then the other guys that are scratched, Comfer, Spears, and Taves, we got a big battle going for forwards. Defense, not so much. This is how it's going to look going forward. Although we don't get the superstar, left-hand defenseman that we wanted, we did get a pretty solid guy in Ryan Lindgren. So I'm pretty excited to see what he can do with Boquist on his side. And then our second line now consists of Fowler and Severson, and Hjalmarsson and Yaros on the third line. So that's going to be pretty exciting. Like I said, I'm pretty excited to see what he's going to do. Plus, he's 25, so he's still got room, a couple years to grow. And then our goaltenders, same thing as last year. And then we're pretty much set. So it's going to be a battle for the fourth line, basically. As, obviously we're going to have Taves and Comfort in the lineup. So it looks like there's going to be, 2 spots open? I'm pretty sure 2 spots are going to be opened up. So it's going to be exciting. But that's where I'm going to kind of wrap this one up here, as it's going to be a long one and, obviously a great start to this year. Looking for a repeat performance in the regular season, not so much in the playoffs. But anyway, guys, I'm going to wrap this one up here. If you did enjoy, hit the like button down below. If you haven't already, hit the subscribe button. And as always, guys, see you next time.